If you're not caught up on the One Piece manga, please back out of the video. What's happening right now in the One Piece manga is just ridiculous. And I'm talking about one of the final antagonists of the series, who I actually think will be the final antagonist of the series, if not Blackbeard, and that is Imu. Imu right now looks like they are unstoppable. Now currently we are in God Valley, so we are seeing the greatest of all time, like Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, Garp, so on and so forth. But because Saint Saturn was in attendance, that means that Imu was able to basically possess Saturn and appear at God Valley as well. But once Imu dropped on the scene, the Conqueror's Haki we see come out from Imu looked like nothing we've really ever seen before, except for on Elbaf when Imu was there again, or possibly the Joy Boy Haki now, which means these are the highest Haki feats in the entire series. Rocks, a character that literally destroyed the gates of justice, defeated an admiral, kidnapped 5 kings, clashed with Harold, formed one of the strongest pirate crews in the history of One Piece, doesn't even have an answer for Imu. We were seeing the sword slashes coming from Rocks, literally cutting Imu, and Imu just regenerated like nothing was happening to Imu. We've seen the greatest and most powerful group attack on Imu, and it was ineffective. If you don't understand what I mean Rocks, Whitebeard, Roger, Garp, Big Mom, Kaido, all use named attacks with Haki, Devil Fruit powers and all thrown at Imu, and Imu regenerated like nothing phased Imu at all. So again, it begs the question, could Imu be defeated? Well, in order to really unpack on whether we think Imu really has a chance of being defeated or not, we have to talk about what abilities Imu has access to and what the current characters in the One Piece world have access to. Now, as far as we know, Imu has the ability to access the Abyss. I think Imu literally can just control the Abyss. And through the Abyss, not only can the Gorosei teleport around the place, but so can the Holy Knights or God's Knights. But that's not the full extent of the Abyss. When Imu possessed Gonko on Elbaf, we were seeing Imu literally bring weapons out of the Abyss into the physical world and using them to fight against the giants, to fight against everybody that was there. And you know how powerful these weapons were? I mean, one gunshot literally blew off a giant's arm. No difficulty whatsoever. Imu wasn't even phased. The Conqueror's Haki was so ridiculous that even Loki was confused at what was going on. Everybody felt it all throughout Elbaf. But that's not the worst of the Abyss. Imu has an ability that we all loathe so much, called Domi Reversi. And that's the ability to literally turn a character into an evil version of themselves, a demonic version of themselves, and it gives them a little bit of a power boost, but they commit acts that they would never do if they were in their right mind. This is an ability that has affected Dory, has affected Bragi, and now has affected the great Rocks D. Zebek. Now initially, when you're looking at Imu's power, you're thinking maybe is this a Devil Fruit ability? Because I'm not sure how Imu's able to pull this off. I mean, this must be a Devil Fruit ability, right? But then when you're looking at a character like Rocks, who literally is one of the strongest Haki users in the history of One Piece, and even Rocks is unable to reverse the effects of Domi Reversi, now you are sitting here thinking, well, maybe is this not a Devil Fruit ability? Is this a magic ability? Are we missing something here? Now, I'm here to tell you I don't have an answer. I feel like we still may have the shot to compete with Imu with Haki, only because Joy Boy's Haki was able to reverse the effects of the Gorosei being on Egghead, and it even shook Imu a little bit. But it took Joy Boy's Haki to do so, which can only really mean one thing after all this is said. The current characters that are alive in the One Piece world right now have to surpass the old generation. They can't just get to their level, they have to surpass them, go even higher. What kind of made me realize this is that Rocks referred to Imu as the world itself. And we know we can always say that maybe that's just Rocks mentioning that Imu is the ruler of the world government or things like that, but I feel like there's more to that. I feel like Imu's power is literally as strong as the world itself. The ability to literally turn allies against each other and use them to fight each other. And even if Imu doesn't use that, now you have access to the abyss. You can pull weapons out of the demonic realm or wherever you're getting these weapons from, and the haki is just of another tier. I mean, Imu literally looks unstoppable. Even the strongest combined attack from the greatest legends we know in the One Piece world could not phase Imu at all. Imu just shrugged it off and regenerated. And because Rocks referred to Imu as the world itself, it immediately reminded me of the mural and the scene where it looks like Imu's on the left-hand side and the entire world really has to fight against Imu in order to have a chance to win. And I feel like that's what's going to happen in the final chapters of One Piece if you're fighting against Imu. I don't think there is a shot that a character can 1v1 Imu. I don't. Let's say end of series, Luffy gets to a Joy Boy level. Joy Boy wasn't even able to do so, right? So I think there needs to be an alliance between Luffy and Blackbeard. I think there needs to be alliance with the world. Everybody needs to come together and say, you know what? Let's set our differences aside because what we are fighting is greater than our issues that we have between each other. Imu is literally the world itself, as Rock stated. You need the entire world in order to fight Imu. Like, I don't think there is any more questioning that. And you may say, well, Rob, yeah, but their characters that are obviously going to get stronger towards the end of the series. Why don't you think that they could compete with Imu by themselves? Well, the issue literally is the Domi Reversi. As it shows right now, we don't know who is able to reverse the Domi Reversi, and we don't know what power level it takes to even combat an ability like that. I mean, you're talking about having to literally fight off and possibly kill your own allies. The mental damage, the emotional damage, outside of just the physical damage, is going to be catastrophic against an opponent like this. Because even if you work together, again, a combined attack, all named from Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, Rocks, Roger, and Garp, could not stop Imu. That lineup is ridiculous. And they were all named attacks, so I don't want to hear that they weren't trying. Now, you can maybe say, well, listen, they weren't all in their prime. This was earlier, right? Roger didn't reach his prime until after God Valley. But to say that all these combined attacks of all these legends was ineffective makes you look at our current lineup in the One Piece world and say, who could do what now? Luffy does not have the haki that's necessary to stop a regenerative capability from even that of the God's Knights. Scopper Gaban is literally telling Luffy and Zoro and the others that they need to hone their haki because there is a way to at least slow down the regeneration. Gaban knew this back in God Valley. Rarely knew this back in God Valley. The current characters that we have in the One Piece world don't know this, at least on the Straw Hat crew. Now, I do think that Shanks knows about this, not only because he is of celestial blood, but because Shanks I see as a modern day Roger. I think Shanks literally looked at Roger and was like, how can I be like that guy or even better? And honed his skills and got to that level. And I don't think you get to a Roger level or surpass Roger unless you add this type of haki level to your moveset. So I think Shanks has it. I also believe in Monkey D. Dragon. I know people aren't buying the Dragon stocks. I feel like the fact that Dragon was on God Valley, he was able to see the best of the world clash together, means that his current day form is of that status. Dragon knows how dangerous the world is. He knows that if he wants to make a change in the world, he has to be able to be powerful enough to contend with characters on that level. So I think Dragon is there as well. Garp is outside of his prime, but he can still compete. His haki is still elite. We saw what happened in Pirate Island. Even though Garp got jumped, Kuzan still wasn't able to put him down. He's still alive right now. That speaks to his haki. We can go to Rayleigh as well. Rayleigh has definitely put his jersey up in the rafters, but that still doesn't mean that when Imu pops outside, that Rayleigh won't be ready to go. I personally think that they are going to need everybody and everything. Imu calls for this assembly. Like, I don't think the Straw Hat Grand Fleet is enough. I don't think the Cross Guild is enough. I don't think the Blackbeard Pirates are enough. And I don't think the Red Hair Pirates are enough. I feel like you need everybody all together. Because the fact of the matter is, Imu is going to be using Domi Reversi and flipping people around like clockwork. It's going to be nasty outside. Shanks is going to be running towards Imu. Ben Beckman flips. Sanji might flip. What's Blackbeard doing? What if Blackbeard flips? Is Kuzan gonna fight Blackbeard? Like, Imu is literally the most dangerous person on the seas. Like, I don't think there's any more debate about it. I've always had Imu number 1, but now it's like the distance between number 1 and number 2, the gap is just too large. If you ever played any of those video games, like let's say World of Warcraft or something, and there was a big boss and you had to raid them with 40 other people, like, Imu is one of those guys. Like, it's no longer a debate. So now that we've understood that Imu is one of the most powerful characters and Imu is really, really tough to stop, is there a possibility to stop Imu? Looking at the current lineup of the One Piece world, I'm going to say no, which makes me think I don't know how Elbaf is going to end. I think Luffy is going to reach a higher tier. I'm not sure if he's going to get another gear though, but his haki needs to reach another tier altogether. Like, it's mandatory at this point, or they die in Elbaf. Straight up. A Straw Hat really might not make it out of Elbaf if they get flipped and they suffer under the Domi Reversi, because I don't think any of the Straw Hats have the haki to withstand it. If Rocks couldn't do it, none of the Straw Hats can. That's just is what it is. Now, there is a chance, but this is a biconditional though. If and only if Luffy surpasses Joy Boy, do I think the current One Piece cast of characters have a shot to defeat Imu. If and only if, like, he has to surpass Joy Boy. I don't think there's any more questioning. I don't think Luffy can get to the same level as Joy Boy and defeat Imu. I don't think that's enough. He has to surpass him. Now, that's not to say that I don't think Shanks will have his moment with Imu if that does happen. I think the characters in the Straw Hat Grand Fleet would be nice to have. I could see Shanks using a named attack, maybe Mihawk using a named attack, Blackbeard definitely going in there going crazy. But again, all of these characters have a chance of getting flipped. And that's the scariest thing. Now, there are some devil fruits that I think are necessary. I think Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is absolutely necessary. You need that against Imu. Now, I'm not completely sure how effective it will be against negating Imu's abilities, because again, I don't think Blackbeard is on Imu level or anywhere close to that. But we do know that the Yami Yami no Mi also kind of acts like an abyss as well. So maybe there's that. Luffy's devil fruit, Sun God Nika, is obviously the perfect counter. The Joy Boy, we get all of that. And the fact that Luffy is also able to use his clouds and manifest his dreams to make weapons and do things of that nature. And he can literally change the properties of anything that he really touches or comes in contact with, is kind of a counter to Imu, who could literally just pull weapons out of the abyss. But Luffy doesn't have the haki to contend right now. So that's just something that he would need to use towards the end of the series. And he would need to be smarter with it. I know the Sun God Nika ability is all about Luffy laughing and having fun, but I don't think that's going to work against Imu in the end of the series. I don't think so. I think we're going to need to get a serious version of Nika. I think we're going to need some of the people on Imu's side to flip as well. We know one of Imu's abilities is to use Domi Reversi and flip people to the dark side. But I think one of Luffy's abilities is to turn characters that were once villains into good guys. And he doesn't use any Domi Reverse or anything like that, but it's just the heart of Luffy and people wanting to follow him. And we heard Mihawk say this during Marineford, but I think Luffy is going to need to have that type of impact on characters that are in the world government as well. I don't think they defeat Imu if somebody maybe in the God's Knights or the Gorosei doesn't flip. Now, I've seen theories all over the place. I've seen people say that Gunko is possibly a revolutionary and all this stuff. I'm not thinking that any of that's real. Clearly, I feel like that's already been debunked with Gunko literally being on God Valley as well and all this stuff. But I think that we need one of the God's Knights or one of the Gorosei to flip and turn on Imu. Not saying it will completely turn the tide, but it will at least give the Joy Boy side of history an opening chance to catch Imu on a surprise attack. Believe it or not, outside of Dragon and Shanks and Luffy and Blackbeard, I think Sabo will also need to be in attendance as well. Imu has access to the Mother Flame, and we know the Mother Flame is possibly powering up one of the ancient weapons, probably Uranus, that Imu is in possession of. Sabo has seen this technique, or at least seen the effects of this technique, and he's one of the strongest flame users in the world right now. I think him being there would be advantageous for them. We need Shirahoshi. to call in the Sea Kings as Poseidon. That's mandatory. We absolutely need Loki as well. Honestly, I would love to have Mihawk there as well in all of the Seraphim. I would love to have Buggy actually get the power boost that people really want him to have towards the end of the series. Basically, what I'm saying is we need everybody. I know Marco just went to go retire again. Marco, get out of retirement. We need you. We need everybody. And just to paint this picture for you guys, this is the most fearful I've ever been for our Straw Hats since the beginning of One Piece. Because me looking on God Valley and seeing this, seeing what's happening to Rox, and Imu ordering Rox to literally clap his own family, makes me believe that what's going on Elbaf right now, we're probably not going to leave with all the Straw Hats that we came in with. That's probably what's gonna happen. I will be blown away if all the Straw Hats make it out of Elbaf unscathed. Somebody's gonna get packed up. And if it's not the Straw Hats, it's going to be Scott or Gabon. Somebody has to take the fall. Maybe Saul, maybe somebody else. Dory and Bragi already flipped. They already flipped. So there's a good chance they're gone. Hopefully Shanks gets there. I don't know what's gonna happen in the current manga present day story, because God Valley is making it look like it's unstoppable what Imu's doing right now. And what we're looking at with Imu possessing Gunko, and we're looking at with Imu possessing Saint Saturn, we don't know if Imu is not really using the full extent of Imu, because again, Imu is possessing another person's body and then fighting through them. But they're not fighting Imu directly. It's not like they're in the Holy Land and they're fighting Imu directly. The only character that we've seen on screen literally pull up on Imu directly, besides Rox, was Sabo. And Sabo got one attack from Imu, just one attack, and almost died. Literally almost died, just off one attack. Listen, I apologize if my thoughts are all over the place, but this is my immediate reaction to just seeing what's going on in the One Piece world right now. Like, I don't know how we're going to stop Imu. I don't know. Oda's gotta write another thing in the story to like, Imu really looks like there's no way to stop him. Like, unless you resurrect Joy Boy or Luffy goes in the hyperbolic time chamber, or like, I don't know if there's a way to really stop him right now. That's why I feel like on Elbaf, Imu's just gonna eat. Unless it's Gonko that's going to be stopping Imu from using the full extent of their power. There's no other way that Imu is not gonna just destroy everything. Like, it's, yeah, man, Imu's busted, man. Imu's overpowered. You guys let me know down in the comment section below if you think there's a way that the current characters in One Piece can stop Imu, and if not, who needs to work together? Who needs to get a power boost? Which devil fruits are necessary that you think would be good to stop Imu? I mean, I just feel like you need the world. Once Rock said Imu is the world itself, that's what made me say everybody in the world needs to shake hands, and now we have a common enemy. All the wars, all the fighting, like, get Doflamingo out of prison. This is how serious I am. Get Doflamingo out of prison and put him on the front lines and say, hey, we need you to help. I just feel like we're in that point now. We're in that point now.